The history of the South Plains region was on full display over the weekend during a fun and free event. MCTV's Patricia Perry has a special look at the 2022 edition of Ranch Day.
The Texas Tech baseball and softball teams were back on the diamond this weekend, both taking on the Kansas Jayhawks. But could the Red Raiders both score their first series sweeps? We'll have a look at scores and highlights in sports.
And beyond Texas Tech athletics, there's another on-campus group offering non-stop sporting action every school year. MCTV's Grace Bean has a look at one group of students who compete for Texas Tech in a sport you may not even have known happens here on campus.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Parker Gainey. Later this decade, the United States will celebrate its 250th birthday. Although settlers arrived on the South Plains close to 100 years later, this area became an important part of the story of our country. MCTV's Patricia Perry joins us now with details on how locals were able to experience the past right here on campus. Patricia?
Thanks, Parker. West Texas has a lot of history. One museum here in Lubbock hosted an event this past weekend to not only tell you how this area was established, but to take you back in time and show you what it looked like.
There has to be a storyteller.
A story. That is what it all begins with. The National Ranching Heritage Center hosted Ranch Day to impact children. They had horseback rides, cattle, ranch hosts dressed for the time period, and all the buildings open. They do this because their goal is to tell people about the land they live on.
I grew up here, and I don't remember anybody ever telling me that. I have a mission to tell people we live on the Llano Estacado.
Jones says they want to impact anyone that comes through the doors, but she hopes to give children new knowledge that they can hold on to forever.
These are pandemic children. The generation today is. They don't know about influenza and diphtheria and scarlet fever and all. It's a new generation. Somebody has to tell the new generation.
The entire event was geared towards the next generation. They were able to learn ranch history, science, skills, and participate in ranching activities. For MCTV, I'm Patricia Perry.
In less than 2 weeks, many students will head home to celebrate the Easter holiday. With that in mind, one campus group recently held an event to give students the chance to use their creativity to help brighten the upcoming holiday for some older Lubbock residents. Last Tuesday, the Student Activities Board hosted the Easter Cards for Raider Ranch service event. Students had the opportunity to stop by and decorate a card to be sent to the local retirement community in time for the Easter holiday. Lonnie Crosby, administrator for Tech Student Union and Activities, says the event is an opportunity for students to connect with and support the local community.
Just to remind them that there's a whole community out here that just cares about them and what they're doing over there, and to connect Texas Tech students to the greater community, because sometimes I feel like Texas Tech can be a bubble.
Crosby says community outreach opportunities like last week's event are a reminder for students that there is a whole world outside the campus.
Last summer, students noticed a big change inside the sub after the on-campus bookstore transitioned to new management. And now, nearly 10 months later, students have the chance to leave their mark and help bring recognition to the facility. Last June, the Follett Corporation took over operation of the former Barnes & Noble bookstore in the sub. Since then, the facility has been known simply as the Texas Tech Campus Store. But early last month, Follett announced a naming contest to give the store a more recognizable name. Submissions are being accepted through a post on the Texas Tech's official Instagram account. Students can leave a comment with their name along with the suggested new title for the store. Submissions are being accepted through this Friday. After that, students will be able to vote on the top 4 naming options starting on April 18th. The student with the winning suggestion will receive free course materials for next fall. If you would like to suggest a name for the campus store, visit Instagram.com and search for @TexasTech. The South Plains finally saw some consistent spring-like weather over the weekend with sunshine, warm temperatures, and of course some wind.
That's true, Patricia, but a cold front moved through last night, dropping temperatures nearly 30 degrees today. So is more spring weather on the way, or could we see even colder conditions before the warm weather finally sets in? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecasts. The MCTV tower cam has been showing mostly cloudy skies today. Temperatures have also been a lot cooler than yesterday, with highs only reaching the mid-60s this afternoon. We should see some more sunshine before this evening, but we won't make it above 70 degrees today. Tonight, the cooler conditions will continue with lows dropping into the 40s after midnight. We'll continue to see some clouds, but those should move out of the area early tomorrow morning. We'll see another cool start to the day tomorrow morning, but after that, temperatures will begin to climb quickly with highs expected to reach the upper 80s. Unfortunately, the winds will also increase with speeds hovering around 25 to 35 miles per hour, and even higher gusts expected tomorrow afternoon. Those winds will bring in another cold front, dropping temperatures back into the 60s and low 70s over the next few days. We'll also see a few colder nights with the chance of another freeze late this week. After the cold front moves through, highs on Wednesday and Thursday will be very similar today, but overnight lows will drop back into the 30s through the rest of the week. Looking ahead, this week's cool down should end just in time for the weekend, but then even more wind appears to be heading our way to start out the next week.
With the end of the semester right around the corner, several campus groups are hosting some of their final events of the school year. Last week, I had the chance to sit down with a representative from the Office of the President to find out all the details about an upcoming concert honoring a West Texas musical legend. I'm Patricia Perry, and I'm joined today with Dory Boyschneck that's going to tell us a little bit about the Presidential Election Performance Series events they've got coming up. So Dory, why don't you tell me about what is Lubbock Lights?
Sure, so thank you for having me. Lubbock Lights is our local show, so everything else I do with the program, we book folks from out of town. But for this one event once a year, we try to celebrate local music, songwriting traditions, and the musical roots of the South Plains in general. So we've had a lot of different folks come through, from Lloyd Maines is usually involved, Terry Allen to Amanda Shires. We've had so many wonderful folks involved. But the roots of the name, it originates from the 1951 phenomenon where some tech professors actually saw a V-shaped formation of lights fly over Lubbock, and so I think locals might recognize this, and it's still talked about, and lots of different things are named after this, beers and different things here in town, and so it's certainly still something that folks think back of fondly, even though it was quite a while ago at this point. But so we named this local series after that, and we're referring to our artists as our local Lubbock Lights.
Awesome, that's really cool. So talk to me about what is the theme for this year's event?
Sure, so each year is different, and we just have, we invite different musicians back. This year, we're going to honor Mac Davis, who's a singer-songwriter from here. I hope, if you're going to Tech, and if you're from here, I hope you're familiar with him. There's a street named after him. If nothing else, hopefully the name is familiar. He's a country pop singer-songwriter from here. A lot of his songs were made famous by Elvis Presley, so folks hopefully recognize him. But so we're going to honor him as he passed away at this point last year, and we're going to cover about 15 of his different songs by local musicians, each vocalist doing a different song.
Awesome. So how would someone go about getting tickets for this event?
There's a couple different ways to get tickets. You can venture over to our website for this event. It's lubbocklights.ttu.edu. You can call up the box office, 806-770-2000. But also for students, I don't really recommend either of those, because for students, it's actually free attendance. So if you're a student, I would say just grab your student ID, make sure you have it, bring it over to the Student Union building, find the East Info desk, and if you show your ID, then you can get a free ticket and be able to go to the show.
Perfect. So when is this happening? Where is it happening at?
So the show is April 7th, 8 p.m., which is an hour later than our rest of our season. So make sure to note that, 8 p.m., April 7th, Thursday night, and it's going to be in the Student Union building. The address to that, if anybody needs it, is 2625 15th Street, if that helps. But I think folks on campus usually recognize the sub at this point. And it's in the Allen Theater, which is sort of the east side of the building.
Perfect. So I know y'all have other events coming up. Talk to me a little bit about what else y'all have.
Yes, we do. We have Ranky Tanky rescheduled. They were supposed to be here last month, but due to weather, we rescheduled them for late April. So it's going to be April 28th at 7 p.m., and all the information is the same, tickets and the website and all. So I hope folks can come out to that. They're a fusion of funk, gospel, jazz, and they're coming to us from South Carolina.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and coming in and talking to us about this.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And that's all the time we have for today. Back to you.
The Texas Tech baseball team kicked off Big 12 play just over a week ago as they took on the Texas Longhorns at Danlaw Field. Since then, the team has played 5 more games, including a midweek series against an in-state opponent. MCTV's Alejandra Salazar was out at the Law last week and brings us the details.
I'm here at Danlaw Field where Texas Tech will be taking a break from conference play with a pair of games against Stephen F. Austin, concluding their 6-game homestand. The Red Raiders are looking to bounce back after dropping the last game of the series finale against the Texas Longhorns. The Red Raiders swept their midweek series against the SFA Lumberjacks, improving 5-1 at home and 22-5 overall before they go compete on the road. Fifth-year senior Cody Masters made his return to the lineup with his first hit of the season being a grand slam to help Tech defeat SFA 13-5 in Game 2. The Red Raiders will have another pair of midweek games in Phoenix, Arizona against Grand Canyon University. Tech's next home game will be on Friday, April 8th against Kansas State as they continue Big 12 play. For MCTV, I'm Alejandra Salazar.
Following last week's sweep of the Lumberjacks, the Red Raiders headed north over the weekend to meet up with the Kansas Jayhawks. Tech started off trailing 1-0 in the first, but the Red Raiders' bats got hot late in the game, with Jace Young hitting a 3-run homer to put the Red Raiders ahead 5-2. Later in the 9th inning, Cole Stillwell hit a solo home run, and Kurt Wilson hit a double to left center, bringing in Tech's last 2 runs. The Red Raiders finished out Game 1 with an 8-2 victory. On Saturday, Texas Tech was hoping to get their second series win in conference, but they did much more than that, taking down the Jayhawks 28-2. The Red Raiders scored 4 or more runs in 4 different innings, racking up a high of 8 in the 6th. It was only the 8th time in program history that the Red Raiders have scored 28 or more runs, and already the 2nd time this year. Starting pitcher Brandon Birdsell also had an outstanding day, pitching 5 innings without a hit. After capturing the series, Tech had hoped to also finish with their first conference sweep. Unfortunately, Kansas sent the Red Raiders home with their second Big 12 loss, winning yesterday's finale 8-5. Tech will stay on the road as they head west for a matchup with Grand Canyon University in Phoenix tomorrow and Wednesday. First pitch for Tuesday game is set for 8 p.m. Central Time, followed by a 4 p.m. start on Wednesday. Both games will be available on ESPN+.
The Texas Tech softball team also took on the Kansas Jayhawks in their second Big 12 series over the weekend. The Red Raiders had high hopes of a series win after being swept by Oklahoma State the previous weekend. Tech went to work early, putting up 4 runs in the first 2 innings before Kansas could even get on the board. The Jayhawks got close to evening things up in the 3rd, hitting 3 home runs, but the Red Raiders quickly extended their lead with a 2-out, 2 RBI single by Peyton Blythe. Kansas would go on to score 5 more runs in the 5th and 6th innings, but a couple of hits and a wild pitch allowed Tech to bring 2 more across in the bottom of the 6th. Pitcher Morgan Hornback picked up the save in the final 2 innings, giving the Red Raiders their first win with a final score of 12-9. Saturday's game was a lot lower scoring affair, with the Red Raiders only putting up 2 runs in the first 2 innings. Kansas tied it up at 2 in the top of the 3rd, but then junior Ellie Bailey stepped up with a 2-run homer to pull ahead 4-2. The Red Raiders never looked back after that, holding the Jayhawks to only 2 more hits and no runs through the final 4 innings. Sophomore Carson Armijo hit an RBI single for the Tech's final run in the 6th, and the Red Raiders clinched the series with a score of 5-2. Just like Tech baseball, the softball team's hopes of a sweep were brought to an end yesterday as the Jayhawks' bats came back to life in the series finale. Kansas hit 4 home runs in Sunday's contest, scored 4 runs before the Red Raiders even went up to bat. Tech came within 1 run of the Jayhawks in the bottom of the 5th, but from there, Kansas countered with 5 unanswered runs to hand the Red Raiders a 10-4 loss. Tech softball has the rest of this week off before welcoming Oklahoma to town for their next Big 12 series. Game 1 is set for 5 p.m. on Friday at Rocky Johnson Field, followed by a 2 p.m. start on Saturday, and a noon first pitch on Sunday.
Texas Tech Athletics host a full schedule of events this time of year, but the university's major sports venues aren't the only place you can catch Red Raiders in action this spring.
MCTV's Grace Bean headed out to the fields outside the rec center to find another competitive group of students who are using their skills to compete in a sport that's much more popular overseas than here in the States.
Texas Tech students looking to get involved with extracurricular activities have many options to choose from, some of which are offered by the Rec Center. One option that many students may not be as familiar with is the men's rugby team. Paul Silva, the recruitment officer for the rugby team, says it's about more than just playing the game.
I say we're a family. We really are. We love the sport. We welcome anybody with open arms. Like, people don't want to join because, hey, it's very physical or I've never played before. But it's fun to try new things, and like I said, we're family. Anybody who wants to come out, we're here.
The team practices Tuesday through Thursday each week to prepare for weekend competitions, both at home and on the road.
We do travel, and we play a lot of big teams. We play A&M, LSU, UT, Baylor, OU. My freshman year, we went up to Colorado Springs and played Air Force Academy. So we play some really big teams.
We'll usually have 1 or 2 home games. Yeah, it's just a lot of driving because we're a little far out here in West Texas.
The Texas Tech men's rugby team is always looking for new players, and any student on campus is allowed to join.
We want to bring people in. We want to, show people that we're here. Not many people know we have a team, so it's more than just playing.
President Ruben Forey has been part of the team since his freshman year. Forey originally was from South Africa, making him more familiar with rugby than many Tech students. But he wasn't sure he wanted to be part of the team.
I never played competitive rugby until I got to Texas Tech. And at my orientation, my roommate was like, hey, come play rugby, it's a great sport and everything. And I was like, nah. I ended up being going for 2 weeks, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. Went to one practice and just absolutely fell in love with it. So.
Forey encourages students looking to get involved on campus to consider giving rugby a chance.
If you're looking for something to do and you want to be a part of something bigger and help more people on campus, this is it.
For more information on the men's rugby team, you can check out their Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts or visit recsports.ttu.edu. For MCTV, I'm Grace Bean.
So Parker, have you had a chance to compete in any of the university's intramural sports?
I have not yet, but I've been wanting to join Texas Tech's swim club. So
I think you should try. I don't think I'm athletic enough to try out for any of the sports teams, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, who knows? You might be great.
We might be. Awesome. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.